Dr. Vivekananda Kalaselvan, Principal Scientific Officer, Indian Pharmaceutical Commission, Ghaziabad, New Delhi. Dr. Kalaselvan sir is a Principal Scientific Officer at IPC, New Delhi since February 2014. Sir has over 2 years experience in the area of clinical research and pharmacovigilance. He is a man for establishing the best way of ADR reporting and processing. Sir also played roles as a senior scientific officer, clinical research coordinator, and assistant professor. Sir completed his secondary education in 1993, pursued Bachelor of Pharmacy, Master of Pharmacy from KM College of Pharmacy, Madurai, Tamil Nadu. Sir has got research fellowship from the Delhi Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences and Research. Sir, feeling fortunate to have you, sir.
Thank you.
I will hand over the session, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Ram Rao, for introducing me.
Okay,
First
sir.
of all, let me express my sincere thanks and appreciation to Principal, Chalapathi Institute of Pharmacy. Thank you, sir, for inviting me and giving this opportunity to share some of my thoughts and experiences with you all. And also, I'm thankful to all colleagues as well as faculty members of the Chalapathi Institute of Pharmacy, particularly Dr. Rama Rao and others, for arranging this webinar beautifully and within a very short notice. I am audible to everybody, right? If any problem,
sir.
you can. Yeah, thank you. So I'm thankful to all entire group of Chalapathi Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences. I am very closely associated with Chalapathi during the last 5 to 6 years. I had been there a couple of times, and again, this is another opportunity for me to interact with you all. I know very well this institute is coming up very nicely and growing dynamically with a lot of progress. I used to update through your developments through social media and other platforms. You have very great visionary principle and management. You all are lucky and proud to be a part of Chalapathi Institute of Pharmacy. Thank you very much for inviting me to this webinar. It's a great opportunity for me. Actually, I do not have formal slides to share with you because this topic is very vague topic, because we do not have any. The topic that given to me is today's topic is the safety of medications or medical products used in COVID-19 pandemic. So I would say medical products rather than medicines. So today's my webinar, my talk, my address to you all is the safety of medical products used during the COVID pandemic. As you know very well, we all are reeling under health crisis under the COVID pandemic. We must aware of the medicines or medical products used for the treatment as well as management of the patients suffering from coronavirus disease. So when you call it as a medical products, it is not going to focus only on the medicines used in the COVID treatment. It may be a prophylactic one, or it may be a treatment, or it may be a medical devices. Definitely, we cannot ignore the role of medical devices used in the coronavirus management, COVID-19 management. So there are three components. One is treatment part, and some of the patients or healthcare professionals are, taking the prophylactic one. And third one, the devices. The patients, those who are admitted in the hospital, particularly in ICU, their medical devices are playing a very important role. So this is the way we have to go. We have to discuss certain things. Now let me come to the one part, prophylactic part. Now the prophylactic use of medicines for the treatment of coronavirus. You all know very well, HCQ, very well discussed. Of course, every healthcare professional is aware of the HCQ, that is hydroxychloroquine. It is recommended. Even ICMR has given the advisory. Indian Council of Medical Research has given the advisory to all healthcare professionals as well as COVID treatment hospitals, this HCQ may be given as a prophylactic one, not even during the treatment. Now, we as a pharmacist, I'm very happy to know that there are so many participants have joined today. There are many, I could see a lot of people have joined. So most of us are pharmacy professionals. As a pharmacist, give me 1 minute. Hello. Webinar முடிச்சு கூப்பிடுறேன். So the about the usage of hydroxychloroquine, we must understand something about the rational use of hydroxychloroquine. If you look at the National Formulary of India, Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission has brought out a document called National Formulary of India, which is a guidance document for promoting the rational use of generic medicines. This is one of the very important document, NFI. Now, the National Formulary of India, if you look at the profile, NFI document, there is a monograph. I would like to show you that this is an NFI, National Formulary of India. Hope you have seen this document. This is the document mainly meant for promoting the rational use of generic medicine. We have given the monograph for hydroxychloroquine. You can go to the page number. I don't know how many of you are having the National Formulary of India, this book. But if you go to the hydroxychloroquine monograph, we have the monograph on hydroxychloroquine. I would like to show you the monograph. Say, for example, what are the rational prescribing information given in this monograph? I would like to show you. Give me a moment. So hydroxy chloroquine. Yes. So if you look at this monograph, there are certain indications and contraindications are given. How it should be taken before meal or after meal. It should be taken after meal only, and there are certain contraindications also. It should not be given with the statins. It should not co-administered with statins, maybe atorvastatin or lovastatin, because now you see there are lot of comorbid conditions are occurring. The disease comorbid related adverse drug reactions are more. So you always this medicine not to be given with statins. So now 413, if you take this monograph, there is a 413 page number. I don't know whether this document is available with you or not, but the purpose of showing to here is you should aware of this document. As a pharmacist, we must have this document, National Formulary of India, so that we will get all kind of information. So 417 again, there is a monograph called hydroxychloroquine. Now the 417 page number, if you take hydroxychloroquine monograph, is there already. So if you look at this hydroxychloroquine monograph, it is indicated for pregnancy category C. Pregnancy category C means it's moderately safe. A is absolutely safe, pregnancy category. B sometimes safe, some may not be safe, and C is sometimes risky. So it comes under the pregnancy category C. And then dosage, if you look at the hydroxychloroquine dosage, it's already available 200 milligram and 400 milligram. So maximum dose is it is prescribed. And the contraindication, if you look at the contraindications, see, there are certain drugs should not be co-administered with hydroxychloroquine, like statins, I told you. Then adverse effect, main part I would like to discuss with you about the adverse drug reactions about the usage of hydroxychloroquine. Usually there are certain adverse events are reported. Blurring of vision. Blurred vision is one of the common adverse drug reaction associated with the use of hydroxychloroquine. Then QT prolongation. Yes, that's why even if you look at the ICMR guideline, when you give this medicine, hydroxychloroquine, the QT prolongation is one of the common adverse, maybe one of the adverse drug reactions. So therefore, ECG to be done. Then you have to get the doctor's opinion. Then accordingly, the dose may be continued. So these are the certain contraindications as well as adverse drug reactions already reported for HCQ. Besides this, in your hospital, I know your institute is having a robust pharmacovigilance system for reporting the adverse drug reactions, right? Besides this, if you observe any adverse drug reactions, including this kind of adverse drug reactions, always you can report to Pharmacovigilance Program of India for the betterment, so that all the adverse drug reactions will be compiled, collated, analyzed, and some kind of advisory may be issued to the public as well as healthcare professional about the use of hydroxychloroquine. So you all will have an important role in monitoring the safety of HCQ. So this is one aspect. Now another point which I would like to emphasize you all. See, it is not an approved indication, right? The hydroxychloroquine is approved for some other purpose, anti-malaria, rheumatoid arthritis, etc. So it is approved indication. Approved indication means the regulatory authority, that is CDSCO, is approving a medication for certain indication. And similarly, HCU is approved for other indication, but it is an off-label use, right? There are so many medications are available off-label use, which are approved for one indication, and it is used for, because it is found beneficially. Clinically, the drug is having a lot of benefits over the particular disease or treatment of disease. So therefore, now here it is off-label, I would say, it is off-label use of HCQ here for the coronavirus treatment. And again, if the safety as well as efficacy of the HCQ is proven in coronavirus disease, then the drug may be repurposing. That is called repurpose. So again, the indication they may change the indication. Yes, it may be used for coronavirus as well. So as of now, the HCQ is approved for certain indication, and it is not meant for coronavirus. But based on the clinical experience, we all are using this. This is one thing. Besides hydroxychloroquine, there are other medication also used, like favipiravir, remdesivir. So many drugs are under the trial, but we have not, we cannot comment at this point of time whether all these medications are useful or not. This is the medication you know very well. This is one thing, right? Now prophylactic part. Prophylactic part. If you look at the prophylactic use of purpose, there are so many Ayush products are coming to the picture. As a pharmacist, we must know the Ayush Ministry. If you look at the Ayush Ministry guideline, I don't know how many of you have gone through the Ayush Ministry advisory. There are certain Ayurvedic medicine like Osimum sanctum, OC, Gingiber officinale, Piper nigrum or Piper longum, then Curcuma longa. So these are the medications, these are the drugs found to be effective in the prevention of coronavirus infection, because all these medicines are based on the antiviral property, right? Antiviral property of certain medicinal plants or certain compound present in the herbal formulations have been prescribed or recommended for the prophylactic purpose. Even it varies state government to state government. If you look at the government of Tamil Nadu and other, I don't know about your state, they are promoting the Ayush products along with the allopathic medications for the treatment of coronavirus, and we have a report that within 3 to 5 days the patients are cured. So it is based on the antiviral property of certain medicines. We can recommend that. So this is again the prophylactic medicine. So under the Ayush Ministry, if you go to the Ayush Ministry guideline or Ayush Ministry website, you will find a lot of information about this product. Now again, we being a pharmacist, we must know how it has to be prescribed. So that Ayush formula, if you look at the Ayush formula like Osimum sanctum, Curcuma longa, Piper nigrum or Piper longum, you have to take 5 grams of the medicine each, and you have to take 100 ml water, and you have to prepare a decoction, and then decoction to be taken. So this is what they have recommended. Now, as a pharmacist, again, you have a lot of opportunity to work on this area. How it is effective, you can go for monitoring the patients, monitoring the adverse drug reactions. We cannot enter into their guideline or their practice, but being a pharmacist or being an ADR monitoring center, you can always, you have a scope to monitor the safety as well as efficacy of such products, and you can collect a report and you can use it for your project work, or your, if you are a PharmD, again PharmD professionals can enter into such kind of focused monitoring of such Ayush products, whether these products are really effective or not. And you can take a data and you can compile, you can publish, and you can submit to the authority as well for the betterment of the public. This is the kind of information will be maybe useful for all of you. See, another area which I would like to emphasize here, like the medical devices utility in the COVID pandemic. There are a lot of medical devices which are being used, like PPE, that is personal protective equipments. We will call it as PPE. Now, we may not able to, go enter and the detailed manufacturing process of medical devices. But being a pharmacist, we have certain, we should have certain basic minimum knowledge as well as uh, processing methodology of the medical devices. The personal, if you talk about the personal protective equipment, we have gloves, masks, etc., are used during the COVID pandemic. Now, the recent guideline, if you look at the medical devices regulation as well as guideline, all the medical devices are regulated and they are considered to be a drugs. So, the monitoring the safety of personal protective equipment like gloves, the safety of gloves, safety in the sense here the lack of quality or quality related issues come into an existence for the adverse events reporting. The Commission, Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission, as we are coordinating the Material Vigilance Program of India, we have an opportunity to develop certain guidelines and forms, reporting forms for the personal protective equipments. Now, the personal protective equipment like gloves, masks, and others are widely used during the COVID pandemic. Now, the reporting form, personal protective reporting form, in addition to the medical devices reporting form, is developed, and now this form is available in the website, Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission website. You can go through and you can download the personal protective equipments report form. And if any adverse events are associated with the use of personal protective equipments, you may be reported or you may contact your ADR monitoring center so that appropriate measures can be taken. So this is a new area we are trying to develop, or we are trying to collate the data associated with the use of personal protective equipments. Again, it comes under the medical devices. Other than this, other medical devices are also used in the focus during the COVID pandemic, like ventilators, oxygen. There are, when it comes to the oxygen, I would like to emphasize here, as a pharmacist, we must know there are two grades of oxygen is used in the market. One is commercial grade and medical oxygen. There is a huge difference between the commercial grade oxygen. Why I am emphasizing oxygen here? Because if you want to ensure the proper functioning and the efficiency of the ventilators, oxygen plays an important role. Fortunately, we are thankful because in India, less number of patients are, going to the ventilator or put on ICU. But if you look at other countries, the usage of ventilators are at higher rate. But in India, we are not that much. Ventilators are not used that much because the patients are cured. We are thankful for that. But when you talk about ventilator, the performance of the ventilators always depends upon the quality of the oxygen used. So when you talk about oxygen, we have commercial grade and medical grade. Now, the medical grade, what do you mean by medical grade oxygen? So we have Indian Pharmacopoeia has got a monograph for medical oxygen as compared to commercial oxygen. Medical oxygen means purity is 92% purity should be there. 92% of the purity oxygen. And then there are certain limits, carbon monoxide, right? Carbon monoxide and other impurities should not be more than this much percentage. So if you look at 92% purity of oxygen to be ensured in medical oxygen, and then remaining 8% like carbon monoxide and other related impurities, but their level also should not be crossed. So this is the difference. So nowadays, we have to make sure whether the industries or the hospital supply oxygen, all of them are ensuring the Indian Pharmacopoeia standard or not. So again, this is another important factor we all must, encounter, and we must see how the things are utilized. So this is how the things are moving on. Now, when it comes to medical device adverse event reporting, another major area is in vitro diagnostic kits, also notified as a medical devices. If you go to the, the form medical devices adverse events reporting form, there are certain features. Emphasis is given to monitor and to capture the adverse events associated with in vitro diagnostics kits. When you call it as medical devices, not only implants, all the implants are medical devices, you know. Besides that, besides the implants, we have equipments, hospital equipments. All equipments are considered as a drug. In vitro diagnostic kits like TB diagnostic kits, HIV diagnostic kits, and then even coronavirus, COVID-19 diagnostic kits. All these in vitro diagnostic kits are regulated, are notified as a drugs. Now, if you go through, if you look at the scenario, previous to the medical devices rule came into existence and effective from January 2018. And before that, there was no regulation, and it was manufactured and marketed in any part of the country. And now, after the medical device rule 2018, all the devices are regulated, and you have to get an approval from the regulatory authority, that is CDSCO. CDSCO is responsible for even giving the approval, registration, or whatever you want. All the medical devices are regulated by the law now. Again, this is another area, another scope for all of us, all of the pharmacy professionals to find a job as well as career, as well as entrepreneurship. It gives a lot of opportunity for all of us because all the devices are being regulated now. Now you can imagine the demand for mask, N95 mask, or other personal protective equipments because it is being regulated now. You need to have a registration. So once you monitor safety, once you start reporting, then you will come to know how many of them are at par with the international standards, or how many of them needs to be regulated. So this is one thing. So again, the in vitro diagnostic, I'll come to you. The in vitro diagnostic kits, if you talk, there are a lot of in vitro diagnostic kits used in the diagnosis of HIV, TB, coronavirus, and other diseases. Now the question comes, how we monitor, what is the adverse event here? How we can report the adverse events? Reporting adverse events associated with drugs or vaccines, you are familiar, you can do it. But when it comes to devices, it's challenging. You do not have specific causality assessment. But here, in case of devices, it's maybe a sterility related issue, or it may be a biocompatibility, or it may be a quality related issue. But when it comes to devices, in vitro diagnostic kits, there is a chance of false positive and false negative. If a diagnostic kit shows false positive, then there is no use. False negative also problem. So this is the adverse event associated with in vitro diagnostic kits. So false positive and false negative results to be reported so that appropriate measures can be taken. So this is how the reporting of medical devices goes. I think this is about why I would like to emphasize here. The Commission, Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, is working with the stakeholders directly or indirectly to promote the quality, safety, and rational use of all medical products. Medical products means not only drugs. Again, it covers the devices, vaccines, and traditional system of medicine. So all medical product standards is one thing, safety is one thing, and promoting the rational is one thing. So this is how I would like to emphasize you all. So this is how I think I have completed my thought. This is some of my experiences and my thoughts. So I think I have finished my talk. Now, if you have, if one or few of you have any questions or doubt, you can always ask me. Thank you very much. Over to Chalapati Institute of Pharmaceutical.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for wonderful session, sir. Yeah,
Great.
I will allow the participants to ask some questions, sir.
Yeah, few you can take. I think it may not be repeated one, but you can select them and you can put forward. You can ask. You can, no problem. It's open to you all.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Navya?
Yes.
Yeah, you can ask question.
Good morning, sir. This is Navya from Chalapati Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences.
Good
So
morning,
the
Navya.
session was really wonderful, and I really like the way you mentioned about Ayush products, sir, which no
Mm.
one is actually talking, and most of us are not even aware of it.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I would like to ask you, what do you what is your opinion about safety of these products, sir?
See, safety, when you talk about Curcuma longa, Curcuma longa and Ocimum sanctum, there is no such adverse effect or side effect. Only maybe it may, if you take, there may be toxicity, may be the issue, but I don't see any adverse event or side effect reported with the Ayush product so far. It is safe because every day on daily basis we are using. If you take Curcuma longa, Piper nigrum, Piper longum, all these products are used
Yes, sir.
on daily basis. And daily food also we are taking, but we do not have any reported side effect or adverse effect. For sometimes maybe it may toxic because if you abuse or if you take beyond the dose, then it may have some kind of toxicity. But as of now, they all are considered to be safe. But you require continuous monitoring.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Ah,
Because
content.
a lot of us hear about Ayurvedic products. I mean, they're good, but still they have issues with stomach and all. They complain.
No. See, I'll tell you, if there are certain companies, they are, maybe it may be practiced wrongly. It may be because of the contaminants. There are some of the marketed products. They may have, you may find some kind of pesticides or residual solvents, etc. Because these residual solvents or pesticides may cause some side effect or adverse events, but it is not related to the product. If it is practiced genuinely, if you do not find any adulterants or contaminants, I don't think any adverse events after herbal products.
Okay, thank you, Navya. I'll give the one more participant. Sir, Dr. Nagaravikiran.
Yeah, please, no problem.
Hello.
Yeah, please, Dr. Naga Ravi.
Sir, it was a very wonderful session, sir. Thing is that news is being speculated here, sir. According to a news from Wuhan, people who are in Wuhan are very safe because of gargling using garlic and all. Because your session is related to natural products, do you think it is a valid solution or remedy, sir?
See, definitely now that is what the government as well as hospitals, they are gaining an experience and knowledge based on the traditional system of medicine. I am sure this traditional system of medicine is doing a wonderful job with the patients, because I told you there are evidence, there are report from the state government. The recovery rate is very fast and very high. That is because of maybe our food habit or the traditional medicine is being used besides the allopathic medicine. Yeah, thank you. Any more questions?
Yeah. Yeah, Dr. Hariprasad. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, Dr. Hari, please.
Sir, very good morning. I am
Good morning, Hari.
from Narsarapeta Pharmacy College, Pharmacy Practice HOD.
Nice to meet you, sir. Good morning.
Sir, good morning, sir. Already previously, we are doing some project related to vigilance only. Last year, we did vaccines project, and before year, we did some announced IPC drugs, 10 drugs we taken, etc. So this year, suppose we want to go for material vigilance regarding the kits and protective equipment means
Hmm.
regarding the data collection. For example, if the drug related means we have patient profile form and drug related information and all available in the hospital.
Hmm.
But in case regarding the in vitro kits and PPP equipment, these data whether the doctors are maintaining or health workers are maintaining, whether from where we have to get the data, sir.
See, I would like to tell you one thing. This may be a small project. Like if you want to do project on medical devices, I would like to say, I would like to advise you kindly take up a project. The metal loss is associated with hip implant or orthopedic implants.
Yeah, sir.
See, usually when you place the implants, the implants are manufactured by using the metal. The metal leaching is one of the common problem with the medical devices. Now you do some kind of clinical study. You take some patients, those who are placed with metal or hip or orthopedic implants. Now you follow the patients. If they develop some complications like inflammation or any other related illness or issues, you can monitor them and you take their blood sample and you go for imaging, soft tissue imaging, or you take the blood sample and you test for the level of cobalt or nickel content in their blood, and
Yes,
you
sir.
develop a report like metallosis is really associated with the medical devices or not. So this kind of project would be ideal for you.
Yeah, sir. So this is for related, not related to COVID actually. I think so, sir.
No, not related to COVID, but this is the real project. When you talk about project, I suggested this topic. COVID related, always you can do like sterility testing, the
Yes,
quality
sir.
related issue, whether the device is registered under the CDSCO or not. This kind of information as a regulatory affairs, regulatory related information you can collect and you can do a project.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Exactly, you cannot keep the parameters or you cannot check the you keep the indicator or criteria with respect to drugs. When it
Yes,
comes to
sir.
the PPE related adverse event reporting, you can ask the registration number whether they have registered or not,
Yes, sir.
whether it is sterilized or not. Some parameter you have to devise and you can monitor.
Yeah,
Yes,
Harpreet
sir.
sir, thank
So
you. Yeah, Moriam Nagaraj is closing, sir.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So I got a little bit delayed access into the room.
No problem.
Definitely, this was a interesting area where we need to really discuss. I have a small doubt regarding the medical devices which we were discussing. We were talking that these medical devices could come out with false reports like negative, false positive or false negative. Now, does we have any solution to overcome these such false results?
See, that is what we have to find out. Over how we are reporting is one thing, but we have to find out the root cause, how it is happening, why it is doing wrongly. Whether it is the particular whole batch related issue or particular only one product related issue, we have to find out the root cause analysis. Why it's showing the false positive. Even if you take glucometer, if a glucometer shows a wrong reading, then the things are gone. So this is what it's an engineering, pharmaceutical engineering related issue. We have to devise a mechanism how we have to overcome.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any more questions? I'm happy to see that large number of participants we have.
Yeah, this, more than 600 member participants, sir. But we're unable to
Great. But I'm very excited. Thank you so much. But still, we can have more. If you have any other question, we have
Yes, sir,
time.
yeah.
Another 5 to 10 minutes. We can. If you know
Yes,
questions,
sir,
then we will close. Otherwise, if we can take
Yeah.
few more questions.
Hello.
Yes, Swapna is online, sir.
Please,
Sridevi.
Devi, please.
Hi, sir. Does vaccination have any effect in COVID-19 infection, sir?
Vaccination.
Vaccination during our childhood has any effect on COVID-19?
Yeah, great. This is a very good question, because a lot of study, even we do not have any data with IPC or PVPI or MVPI, but there are reports from Indian Medical Association, whether really the BCG vaccination has impact or not, because the BCG vaccination, of course, every one of us vaccinated with BCG vaccine, but really this vaccine is having some impact, preventable part or not, we do not have, but IMA is taking a data, or ICM also collecting data, whether the BCG vaccination is having any role in the delay or prevention of this virus is undergoing. Studies are undergoing. I'm sure maybe 6 months or 1 year down the line, the ICMR or Government of India, Ministry of Health will have some data about the vaccination role. As
Okay,
of
sir.
now, we do not have any scientific data, madam.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
And one more data, yesterday there was an article, the cannabis sativa, cannabis also, cannabinoids. Now, if you look at the cannabis role, it is a narcotic drug and it is controlled under the Narcotic and Psychotropic Substances Act. But there are certain countries in their regulation, they are restricted. I mean, they are, put this as a drug medication for the medical purpose, like cancer pain management and other indications, pediatric epilepsy, etc., because of the efficacy of the cannabinoids. Now, the same cannabinoids, cannabinoids are found effective for antiviral as well as coronavirus infection. Again, these all are preliminary reports, but we do not have final one. So, any more questions or?
Sir, Swapna Moparthi is asking questions.
Yeah, please. Please proceed.
Hello.
Yeah, Swapna.
A very good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Swapna.
I'm PharmD intern from Chalapati Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences. So the sessions covered by you is everything a wonderful session, sir. You covered all the aspects which we are seeing in the hospital setting in treatment of coronavirus. So here, coming to my question regarding the game changer, that is hydroxychloroquine, which you discussed in the first. So even most of the government saying that the hydroxychloroquine should be used for the prophylaxis, and they are challenging that it as a game changer. But according to WHO, it should not be used as prophylaxis, and it recommended most of the clinical trial to be stopped on this coronavirus prophylaxis. So regarding this, as a principal scientific officer in IPC, so have you suggested anything in India? Because we are seeing in the hospital also they are using a deadly combination of hydroxychloroquine with azithromycin.
See, Swapna, I cannot comment or I cannot add anything because I am not into the either clinical or approval these things. We are a standard setting organization and we are monitoring the safety of medications, but I do not have any comment on the efficacy as well as the guidelines because it varies state to state and country to country. And again, the HCQ action on use on coronavirus will change varies patient to patient. So I think it's it's too early to comment. Let us wait and see how the data comes up, how the efficacy data is available. Then later on we will decide. We can able to decide, but I cannot able to comment anything at this point of time. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You have clarified most of our doubts, sir.
It's really a wonderful session and it is very effective as well. I could see a lot of participants and I don't know whether the audio, video, everything was perfect. I hope it was perfect for you.
Saujanya is asking doubts.
Yeah, please.
So good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Saujanya.
So I have heard a news that ashwagandha is very helpful for corona. What's
Exactly.
your opinion?
Exactly. It is true. Ashwagandha also, it's found effective. That is what I'm saying. Now we need to do a lot of research based on the project. You also can initiate maybe a clinical study or preclinical study, whatever you want. Now this all traditional system of medicine is showing a lot of effectiveness against the treatment of coronavirus. But I'm also like you only. We do not have any clinical data or scientific data. But again, we all should do some kind of research and study. Then only we will able to comment. But these reports are coming up. Yes,
Yes.
I'm aware.
Along with allopathic medicines, they are using ashwagandha
Yeah.
and I heard, sir.
Yes, exactly.
It's showing very good effect. They have said.
Great. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Okay,
But
sir.
that is what all the Ayush traditional system of medicine is going to come up like anything. But we have to make a plan. You may take a project, or you can assign this project to some of the students as well as community-based project. Let us do some kind of research.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you
I
so
hope
much.
we hope that you have satisfied most of participants. You have given the wonderful information to all audience.
Great. Thank you so much.
Okay, sir. On
Thank you.
behalf of Chalabadi Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Professor Ramaru Nadanla and staff and students, we are very thankful to you, sir, giving opportunity and making a webinar. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. It's my pleasure, and thank you very much. Be safe, and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Bye.